a chart of mine to everybody, to all the emails on the list. Did anybody see that yet?
Yes.
Yes.
It just
Yes,
got it.
thank you. Got it.
Good. Michelle, you said you can't print anything out, right?
Correct.
Okay, so I can, what I'll do is, sometime in the next week, I'll make all the copies and I'll send you a packet in the mail, so you'll have those, that way.
That's
Okay,
very kind of you. Thank you very much.
you're welcome. And anybody else have the problem that they can't print out anything on the computer?
Ron, I can print, but I have a question for Jesse. I can't seem to get my video on. I've just got my little picture there. Jesse, can you give me any guidance on, I'm clicking on start video, but nothing happens.
Oh, there you are.
Oh,
Oh,
wait. It won't stay.
there you are. We see you.
Okay, I better not touch anything.
Apologize again for last week, the technical problems, it took me a little while to solve. I'm glad Jack was around here to help reset things, because I'm not the expert on computers, but given we had a few extra minutes, we got through everything. Before we start, any questions you want to ask me? Yes, Patya.
Thank you. The patach and the kamat,
Yes.
if they make the same sound, are there rules about when you use which one? And should I care?
Well, I don't think you should worry about it now. If there are rules, I'm not familiar with it. Again, these came to us, I was going to say from antiquity, not from ancient times, but again, from like the 600s to the 800s, there were a group of scholars of the Bible. This was already in the time where Jews were spreading out from the ancient land of Israel into North Africa, into Babylonia, now Iraq, into parts of Europe, particularly Italy and Greece. And they wanted to make sure that Hebrew learning, at least among the scholars, continued. And so they actually started writing these things down, which were just taught orally before that. So the vowels originally didn't appear. They began to make different notations. And we think that some of these things were a little different, that every notation had some slight difference. On the sheet that I sent you, Jesse, can you put that that sheet on there? I think I just sent one today. I waited for the others. I have them lined up as strong vowels. There we go. Strong vowels and soft vowels. Does everybody see that on the screen here now? As far as rules connected with that, I'm not sure exactly what to say. The main rule that I can think of is if you have a word that begins with a dagesh, I mentioned the dagesh, a dot in the middle, and the previous word ends in a strong vowel, then the dagesh disappears, which most of the time means nothing, but occasionally makes a difference in pronunciation. So that's one rule I can think of. Other than that, I can't think of anything right now. But as you see, they are paired as stronger vowels and softer vowels. The only ones you've learned so far are the kametz and the pata, which again are in modern Sephardi Hebrew, pronounced the same way. In Ashkenazi Hebrew, the kametz is pronounced or. Just for your interest. Yes, Bonnie, you have a question?
Ron, why, if they're both pronounced the same, is one a strong vowel and one a soft vowel?
It just sort of evolved that way. I'm guessing that originally it might have had a slight difference in pronunciation, but again, we're talking about 12 to 1400 years ago. And so things change over time. And they also change, it's interesting that the Ashkenazi community developed them differently and pronounces them differently, whereas the Sephardi community said them the same way. There might have been, again, a slight difference. We don't know that, or maybe there are some answers among really highly technical linguists I'm not, from what the research I've done, I'm not aware that there are differences in those two. Most of the other ones do sound different. As you can see in my list, you haven't learned them yet, but what I call the Sera and the Sego, well, you have a difference between an and an A. Between the Shirik and the Shirik Malay, you have E. Between the Kames Katan and the Cholam, a softer O and a longer O. Very slight differences, and we'll go into these as we go along. The book has a lot of information about, including some of these things, and I put this together because there's always more to be learned. So having this as a reference would be good to supplement what's in the book. Anybody
you,
else? Okay.
I have a question. I have a quick question.
Okay.
What does it mean to be a strong vowel or a soft vowel? Is it, I know like in English you have long vowels and short vowels. That has a particular meaning. Does strong and soft have a particular meaning?
It's similar to that in English, Amy, except that each of the pairs are really very similar. So you would say E is a long vowel, A is a long vowel. I guess in English you would say A is soft for A. Okay, and in Hebrew there may be a little bit different, but basically that's the idea. That again, the only one rule that I can think of now is that not only at the end of a word, even within the same word, if you have a strong vowel before a letter with a dagesh, even inside the word it'll drop that. But this isn't anything that we're going to come across for a while. So basically, you can assume that the strong and soft vowel pairs are similar sounding in Hebrew, but that the stronger ones usually are a little longer, a little harder, a little clearer in the sound, where the softer ones are quicker and softer. Does that give you any new information? I hope I explained that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Good. Okay. So any other questions before we begin? Okay, good. So Jesse, you can take away the sheets now. We'll return as needed. Hello, everybody. What wasn't in before? Lori, Antonio. I see there's a couple more people. Janine hasn't been with us. I see her on the screen. So Janine, if you have any help, if you need any help getting in, you can ask Jesse. He'll help you out. Because I see you on, but I don't see your face. Can you help her, Jesse, if she needs it? Janine?
You want to you can hit your video to open video. Okay.
Okay. Okay, she just
Maybe she doesn't want to be on.
Okay.
Look, if I can appear with my bad hair day, anybody can appear.
Right. By the way, I cut my hair and trimmed my beard before I began the class. It was a little bit longer, and I wasn't look good. Okay, so we're going to have some review, I guess, and we're going to turn right now to chapter 2. Since what I want, before I do that, let's go through. Let me just write down who's here. Let's see. Bonnie is here, and Michelle, and Meryl, and Batya, and Sarah, Amy, Lori, Antonio, and Janine. Okay, good. All right, so we'll start with Bonnie. I asked everybody to do a little practice on the script. So let's take a look at what you did.
I find that I'm better writing it when I have lines on the page. So it's a little, gets big, but
Yes, that makes it easier, particularly if you have an upper line and a lower line.
Right.
That's helpful. Okay, that looks very good. That's very readable, very clear. You have your vowels. Excellent.
Thank
That's
you.
excellent. Really good. I'm impressed with adults that actually have penmanship. It looks really
Oh, I
nice.
don't.
Having taught kids, you can imagine sometimes it's a little harder to read when I teach them scripts. Michelle?
I wasn't at the end of the class. I didn't know the assignment. I didn't do it.
Oh,
Sorry.
So
Bye.
basically, what I said, that's right. You had to leave. After every lesson, when we learn new letters, take in the book like 3 lines that include words, and just write them out in script. It should take you no more than about 10 minutes. But just practice after every lesson, something that we had done in that lesson, and then you can show them to me, so I see how your writing is doing. Okay, you can do that for the next time. Meryl?
I wasn't here last Thursday, but I can show you what I did previously.
That's fine, good. Well, I know you've been doing a lot of writing in the past. Excellent. Okay. Meryl chose to learn the block printing as well as the script. You can do that if you like. I think the script is more important to know. Batya, do you have a writing sample there? Excellent, very good. Again, I'm not comparing, when I'm trying to go through every single one, but it looks really good. I assume that almost everything is correct on all of these. There may be a mistake here and there, but it looks excellent. Sarah, how's yours? A little closer? Great. Oh, that looks really good. Nice. Amy?
By the way, it's a little harder for a left-hander.
Oh, are you left-handed?
Yeah.
I haven't had too many. Amy is beautiful. It looks great. Because left-handed students are more unusual. I haven't gotten feedback about writing Hebrew left-handed, so that's interesting. But you're able to do it. It looked really good. Just more difficult, you said. Okay, well, practice makes perfect. Lori? Excellent. Okay. Antonio?
Ron, I'm so sorry I misunderstood. I thought it was supposed to recite 3 lines, not write 3 lines. Okay, so I understood recite, not write 3 lines. I didn't write anything down. I'm gonna have to do that. I'm a slacker.
So between now and the next lesson, do that so you can show me something.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. Janine, I know you weren't here last week. We did chat. I hope you have the book. We did chapter 1, and Jesse had enabled you to see see and hear a copy of the lesson. Jesse, why don't you explain how she can access that? So it'd be just like having been to class last Tuesday and last Thursday. Janine, Jesse's going to help tell you how you could access that and hear the whole lesson.
Yeah, so we record every class, and all the will be available on the same page. The Zoom information, how you access this class. And I will put it in the chat. So all of the class recordings will be posted on this page. It's the same link that I send out before each class.
Good. And so, Michelle, you can access that if you want to hear the rest of the class that you weren't here for. We had some technical difficulties where I got disconnected, but we did have a whole class. And Meryl, you were away. If you want to see what that was like, you could do that too. That's the great part of technology, that even if you miss something, now you're able to see it and catch up. Good. Okay, so looks like we went through everyone. I wanted everyone to turn to page 12, and I'll do a little reading, and I'm going to call on everybody to read something new. Okay, so in review, you now know 3 Hebrew letters and 2 Hebrew vowels. Okay, and the Hebrew letters are, Bonnie, what's the first one? Remember, the first one is on the right.
Sorry, shin,
Right. Michelle, the second one?
Gotta unmute. Bait,
Right. Mel, the third one? Correct. Batya, what's the first vowel?
The kamatz.
That's correct. By the way, in case you're curious, sometimes people pronounce kamatz and sometimes kamates. They're both correct. There's just a variation. I'm not sure why, but some people learn them different ways. I usually say kamates. Kamatz is also correct. And let's see. Who is after Batya? Oh, let's see. I can do it down this way. Amy, you're next on the screen, I think.
I think we're all in different places on each other's screens, but the next vowel is the ah sound, the patach.
Right. And accented on, if you remember, on the first syllable.
Patach?
Patach. Patach. Okay, now, okay, so here's an extra thing. Those of you who were here last week, accentuation-wise, if you pronounce the word patach as an example of, Lori, what kind of accentuation? Patach. You want to unmute? I see your lips moving.
Okay. Milal,
Yes, slight mil ale.
mil-al.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, does everybody know what I'm talking about? Mil ale, I mentioned late last week, is when the accent on the word is from the next to the last syllable. Next to the last syllable. That situation is called mil ale. And let's see, Antonio, do you remember what the word is when it's accented on the last syllable? Unmute.
Ra.
No, ra. Good. And like I said, for those of you who aren't here, 85% of all Hebrew words are accented last syllable, mil ra, and 15% next to last syllable, mil ale. Good. Okay. So together, these letters and vowels spell out the word. Let's see. Okay. Let me hold on. Let me see who. No, I missed somebody. Oh, Sarah. Did I call you? Maybe I did.
Not yet.
Oh, not yet. Okay. Together, these 3 letters and vowels make the Hebrew word. Go ahead and read that.
Shabbat.
Shabbat. Okay. All very easy stuff. This will get more complicated and you'll learn more later on. Bonnie.
yes, I have a question, Ron. Is it important, I mean, how important is it to learn the names of the vowels as opposed to the sounds that the vowels make?
I'm sorry, to learn
The names. So for instance, I can tell that the patach is the sound ah.
Right.
But I'm having a hard time, for example, remembering that it's called a patach.
Okay. In many classes, they don't actually teach the names of the vowels.
So then it's not that important.
I find it's important to do that. So when I learned them long time ago, it's very useful, I think, in learning, but it's even more useful in teaching. So when I refer to a word, if something's mispronounced, I can tell you, well, that's not a kamates. What vowel is it? So I find that important to do it that way. So let's take a little extra time, as we go along to learn those. But like I said, keep in mind, not everybody does that. For me, that's important. In all my teaching since I started with my 12-year-old kids back in 1982. Oh my God, they're 50 now. It's a little scary, isn't it? But I have always thought that way, and I find that useful. So try to learn those as well. It'll be a big help. Okay, so the review over there, oh, let me see. Gloria, let me ask you. I got a question. I'd like to throw in questions so everybody participates.
Okay.
Shit, bet or vet, tav. What is that called?
You're talking about the root?
Yes. What is it in Hebrew?
Oh, I know that. A sharesh?
Good, but it's milel.
Oh, shoresh?
That's still milra.
Hmm.
You right, the right sound.
Shoresh?
Shoresh.
Shoresh.
You hear the difference? Just like patach, shoresh.
But
So
it doesn't have a little accent on it to tell you that, does it?
doesn't. In prayer books, you will find most of the time there is an accent mark, that little medtech, that little vertical. I don't think you're going to find that here. So when I know it, I will point that out to you.
Okay.
Shabbat, for instance, is a a regular milra word, but shoresh, the word Hebrew word for root, is milel. And so the shoresh shin bet tav means to rest, to cease, from labor, to desist. Okay, let's pull the page up a little, Jesse. Okay. Batya, why don't you read the English next week? I'd like to have everybody doing things.
I'm sorry, Ron, I didn't hear your instruction. There was noise. Say it again, please.
Oh, I'd like to have everybody reading different pieces. So read the piece, the next piece, this chapter.
Okay, this chapter introduces two new letters, Lamed and Mem. Mem is one of 5 Hebrew letters that have 2 different forms. A regular form used at the beginning or in the middle of a word, and a final form used only as the last letter of the word.
So Hebrew is interesting this way. Like they said, they have 5 Hebrew letters and a variation of those, actually a 6th Hebrew letter, that if they're at the end of the word, it's a totally different letter. It's pronounced the same way, but the written form of the letter is different. We will get to that in a minute. So Mem is the next Hebrew letter. We'll when we get finished with this page, then we'll go ahead to a few pages ahead to the writing of it. Okay, so then the other letter here is the Lamed. Now I'm just going to give you a little something. In the Western countries, most often Lamed is an L sound. In Israel, they do it very slightly differently. And again, I'm doing this just to show you some, differences. Their lamed, to me, it sounds the same, but they actually touch the tip of the tongue to the palate. So the letter lamed would be pronounced lamed, lamed. Okay, that's you don't need to do anything with that, but that's just something that you should know, that Hebrew speakers are very, very slightly different there. And with the mem, again, it's one way in the beginning or the middle of the word, but if it's the last letter of the word, it doesn't look like the one on the second line. It looks like the one on the third line. Antonio, is it a tap? Yeah, if you're doing it in the Israeli way, that's true. Yeah. Again, I would demonstrate lamed. You open your mouth, lamed, lamed. It's I know what to do, so it may be difficult to actually hear the difference, but I guess that broadens the length of the letter. But that's just Israeli pronunciation. Most Westerners do lamed just like a regular L sound. there's another letter which we'll learn later on, which also is pronounced a little different by Israelis and by Westerners, and we'll learn that when we get to it. So visually, look at the letters on the right side of the page. Lamed, L as in lake, looks like that. Mem, as M as in mom, looks like it does there. And the final mem, in Hebrew, mem sofit. Sofit is a feminine version of final or ending. So you want to write that down because there are several sofit letters. Mem sofit looks like it is there, but the sound is just like the regular mem. Okay, Meryl, you want to read at the bottom of the page? Say aloud.
Say aloud the sound of each of the following letters, which include those from the last chapter as well as the new letters. Try to do it without looking at the chart above.
Okay, so I'll have people read 3 of these things. So since these are only the letters, so what we learned last time, the B sound, would just do it like B, or the shin, the S sound, sh. Do it that way. Okay, so the first 3, let's see, let's have Batya do the first 3.
Ooh, mm,
Okay, that's another way of doing it too. Okay, then Janine, can you hear me? Well, you haven't learned them from last week. We'll skip that for now because let's go to Meryl. Next 3.
B, L, sh, sh.
Good. Okay, and Michelle, why don't you do the next 3? Right. Right. Very good. Okay, and Sarah, why don't you do the last 2?
And
Okay, and do the continue on line B. This includes a vowel with the consonant, and read the first one on that line.
La.
Good. Amy, do the next 3.
La, ma, ma.
Good. Antonio. Unmute yourself.
Okay, I'm sorry, I lost. Where are we right now? We did that first line and after the first line?
We're on line B on the next page, the 5th letter.
Okay, fine. I'm sorry, you want the sound or the name of the letter?
What was that?
You want the sound or the name of the letter?
The sound.
If people just if people are not speaking, can they put themselves on mute? Because I can't hear you when you're speaking.
Okay, yeah, so generally unmute yourself when you're not talking. That helps. Okay? I mean, mute yourself. Sorry, you have to see how mute yourself when you're not talking. Good.
Could you repeat what you just told me to do? I couldn't hear you before.
Okay, it's line B, 5th letter, and if you look on your screen, Jesse has an arrow pointing to that 5th letter.
And I'm sorry, what do you want right now? You want the name of the letter or you want the sound?
No, the sound with the vowel.
Okay. Hold on. And that is ta,
Yes.
ha, cha.
Good. Okay.
Ta.
Next, third from the last, we'll go to Lori.
Okay. Sha, ba, ba.
Excellent. Okay, line C. Well, Adam isn't here today. Bonnie.
Ma, sha, la.
Excellent. Okay. Batya.
ma, ba, ta. Oh, no, that's a mem. Ma,
That's
ba,
right.
ma.
You caught that yourself. Good.
I get, I have a little dyslexia with some of the letters.
What was that again?
I have a little dyslexia with some of the letters.
Oh, okay. So thanks for telling me that. There's no criticism here if you do it wrong. I'll just correct you. But yeah, so I understand that can make it hard, a little harder sometimes. I've actually had a number of students, adults and kids with dyslexia over the years. Should make you feel better. It's a little harder at first, but you wind up learning everything. It's just something you'll work through. Nobody that never presents a long-term problem, at least not in my experience.
Thank you so much.
Okay, let's see. So, Meryl, next three. Unmute, Meryl.
Sorry. Okay. Ta, la, sha.
Good. Okay. So these are new ones. Janine, we learned this today. Can you read these two letters? If you haven't gotten this already, the vowel is read after the consonant, and they just learned what those two consonants are today. And can you read those two, the last two, out loud? Make sure to unmute yourself. Janine, you still there? I guess not. Okay, so why don't you do those two, Michelle?
La, ma.
Okay, and then I'll read the next. Well, you know what? Why don't you read the next piece and then read one more word, so you'll have all three.
Me? Okay. Mem Sofit, final mem, is used only as the last letter of a word. It appears in the following line as the last letter of each consonant, vowel, consonant combination. Remember that a consonant, vowel, consonant combination forms a single syllable. Read this line aloud.
Good. So that's useful to know. When you're looking at Hebrew, sometimes a single consonant and a vowel can be a syllable, and in that case, the next consonant also does not have a vowel. If the next consonant, I'm sorry, in that case, if the first consonant has a vowel and the second one doesn't, then you have a two-letter syllable. If they both have most of the vowels, then normally you will have two syllables that way. This whole line is going to be one syllable each. Okay. So what's the first letter, Michelle?
Bomb.
Excellent. Okay, that's what I want to hear. Sarah, why don't you do the next three?
Sham, lam, tam.
Excellent. Okay.
Mom.
Let's do.
No, yeah.
Yeah. Amy, do the next four.
Sorry, I'm just finding my place.
Fifth word.
Mom, bam, lam, mom.
Good. Okay. Antonio, the following line, that's line E. Read the first three syllables.
Okay. The first one is bal.
Al, right?
The next one is lal.
Mm-hmm.
No, sorry. No, the next one is mal.
Okay, mal is the second one.
Right.
What's the third one?
The third one is shal.
Shal. Good. Okay. Let's go to Lori. Why don't you read the next three?
Yes. Tal, Tom, Mom.
Good. Okay. Bonnie.
Mosh,
Yes.
lash,
Yes.
you want me to, lot.
Lot. Good. Okay. Batya. second one on line F.
Mat, lam, mom.
Good. Okay. And then the next four, Meryl, why don't you do those? Finish up that line.
Lush, mush, lob, mob.
Excellent. Okay. Let's see. Michelle, why don't you read the next paragraph? Read out loud.
Read aloud the following longer combinations of letters and vowels. Remember to sound out the individual syllables. Each syllable is either a single consonant with a single vowel or a consonant, vowel, consonant combination.
Right. So as you can see, the first exercise was just the letters without vowels. Then we went on to one letter of the vowel, then two letter syllables. Now, and that went on through line F. Now we're going to something a little more complicated where you can actually have two syllables in a word. So why don't you start, let's see, read the first three in line G, Michelle.
Bam,
Right.
bat, no, bata,
Try it again.
bala.
Bama.
Oh,
So that wouldn't be a real word because it would be a mem so
And
feet.
Sophie, right, so why,
Right. It's just an example for you to read. So say it again.
I'm not understand. Oh,
Well, I was saying it wouldn't
Bam,
be a real. Bam is
bam.
it is a real word. In fact, it ends in a mem so feet. The next one is just a practice, something to practice pronunciation because you wouldn't have a regular mem at the end of the word. So that's just some syllable that
Bama. I see. Bama.
that's it. Bama, exactly.
Uh-huh.
And one more.
And bala.
Exactly, Michelle. Thank you. Sarah, why don't you do the next four?
Baba,
Mm-hmm.
Babal,
Good.
Balal,
Yes.
Bamal.
Excellent. Okay, Amy.
Tam,
Mm-hmm.
tama, mama,
Mm-hmm.
tamam.
Good. Okay, and the last three on that line, Antonio.
Okay. Alam,
Oh, you may have missed it. What's the first letter?
talam.
Alam. Okay, I didn't catch the T. You said it, but
Okay. The next one is talal.
right.
And the next one is malal.
Excellent. So you're actually doing the lamed in the Israeli style. It sounds like.
My L, in Spanish or Italian, the L is a tap, the same thing. English has a relaxed L.
Yeah, but it sounds slightly different than some of the others, and it sounds like the Israeli style. Okay, so we're up to I. Lori.
Yes. Sham,
Mhm.
shama, shala, shalom.
Good. And the last three, Bonnie.
shamam,
Mm-hmm.
shabam, shabal.
Excellent. Okay, so Barbara. Last line F.
Do you mean Batia?
Yes.
Oh, it's okay. You called me Barbara and that's fine.
Right. Yes, you're Batya over there. And I'm going by my list because I don't always see the people. So
It's
yeah,
okay.
Batya, Barbara.
Yes, I'll answer to both.
Okay.
Lash,
So this is the line J.
line J. Lash, labash,
Yes.
latash,
Yes. Okay. And Mel, why don't you finish up?
Lata,
Right.
lama,
Mm-hmm.
lamam,
Right.
labam.
Good. Okay, so I'm going to give you just a little extra here. On a page where you have vocabulary, not just vocabulary for grammatical purposes, but just really learning words. I just want to point out one or two things here that are real words that you may actually use. So, line G, the first word, Jesse put the arrow on it, bomb. Okay, so bomb would be in them, in them. That might not sound like something you would say, but it actually comes up or with them. We'll come across this again when we start learning prefixes. But it's just a word that you may hear in them or with them. Let me see. Two lines down, the same first word. That's line I, the first word there. There we go. Sham means there, T-H-E-R-E, not the possessive E-I-R, T-H-E-R-E. And so when I teach this, I usually bring up today. This is November, so next month we have Hanukkah, and when you spin the dreidel, everybody's familiar. Dreidels have 4 letters on them. You may not know them yet, but they have 4 letters. And the shin that's on one side of the dreidel, each of those letters stand for words. And the words on the dreidel is Nes Gadol. You don't have to write this out. Nes Gadol Haya Sham. And the shin is the fourth of those words. Nes is miracle. Gadol is great or big. Haya means was or happened in this case. Sham, there. A great miracle happened there. We're talking about the miracle of the oil in the temple. But that's a good word to know. Sham means there, over there. Okay? Yeah, that'll work for now. I wanted to point out those two, and you can write those down in your vocabulary page in script. Okay? We'll finish the page and then we'll go on to Hebrew writing. Okay, I'll read this one. In this chapter, 2 new vowel symbols are introduced. One is written next to the Hebrew letter, and the other is written to the upper left of the Hebrew letter. Both indicate the same vowel sound. Okay, so this again is one of many confusing things. Here you have 2 different vowels, which just like the kametz and the patach are pronounced exactly the same. Now, the first vowel that's actually, the letter there is actually a consonant, which we haven't learned yet. We'll learn that later on. But when you have that with a dot on top of it, it's not a dagesh in the middle. It's a dot on top of it. The name of that letter, and you'll see it on after we do this, I'll have Jesse put it on the list I gave you. That is called a cholam. Cholam, C-H-O-L-A-M. And it appears to the left, not underneath, to the left of the consonant. So that's a little different. The second one is the same, and it's the sound O, a long O. The second one is called a cholam chaser. The same word, cholam chaser. We transliterate as C-H-A-S-S-E-R. And the cholam chaser is simply a dot at the upper left of any consonant. You can see the bluish box there. That means any Hebrew letter, any consonant. And if you have the dot, not a dagesh, at the upper left, I see Jesse's going to move in that direction. The upper left of that letter, that will a little lower. There you go. That dot over there. That is also an O without the other piece of it. That could be on any Hebrew letter. It's pronounced O. the cholam and the cholam chaser, both O, but one is to the left and one is just to the upper left part. Okay, everybody still with me? Good. All right, so now we're going to come back to page 14 afterwards, but I want to go ahead and do the page 17, do the writing. So Jesse, if we move to the top of page 17.
Ron, I have a question.
Yes, good.
The cholam
Yes.
looks very much like the vav.
That's exactly the letter it is, yes.
Oh, so it is a vav.
It is a vav with a
Except
dot
if
on
it
top
has
of
the
it.
dot on top, it's now a cholam and not a vav.
But, and so what it is with the dot on top, it's a verb, I'm sorry, it's a vowel rather than a consonant. We will learn this later on. That is going to be the letter vav. Without the dot on top, that's going to be a V sound, and it's pronounced as a consonant, not a vowel. So it will have a vowel with it. When you have this vav and the dot on top, then it's totally a vowel and it's pronounced O. There's no V associated with it at all.
Okay, thank
Okay?
you.
You're welcome. Good to bring up these questions because this is all really important. Okay, so now on your page where you're writing your letters, I'd like you to look at the letters, get a sense what they're like, and the script of the lamed. Let me. Rabbi Yael told me today that Jesse, you could actually do something where you show a script lamed. You actually write it for them, so you'll see what people do to get that lamed. There we go. Oh, good.
Should we be writing in script or block print? Because the prayer books and what you read is all block print.
I didn't hear all of that. You're comparing script.
Should we be writing in script or print? Because, you know, the prayer books are all in print and what we generally read will be in print. So
Right.
shouldn't we write in print as opposed to script?
You can learn both of them. The reality is that the using block printing is something that was really just invented for kids to learn, you know, and he was as a device that makes it easier for children to learn. It is included in the book. Some printing publishers print only script editions or only block printing editions. This one does both. I prefer to learn script because if you're going to have any real use of this, if you go to a class like Rabbi Kleinbaum used to have all sorts of classes, real in-person classes, not only on the computer. And if we had a whiteboard over there, she would write things in script. That's typically how you would communicate. So I think it's important to know the script. It may be, if it's helpful to you to learn the block printing as well, if that helps you recognize the Hebrew consonants, then that's fine. But you know, you can do that as well. But I also want to teach the script as something that's intellectually important to know. I don't know if you're going to use it or not, but as far as, you know, teaching language, I think that's important to do that. Unfortunately, we no longer teach script to kids in school. I learned a few years ago in teaching Hebrew school, which I think is crazy. But I want you all to know, you know, to learn the script, whether you use it or not. But like I said, if it's helpful to look at both, that's fine. I understand that. Okay? So, yes, Mel.
I just wanted to add in my 2 cents to Bonnie. In the beginning, when I started with Ron, I was like, I'm not going to learn the script because it's always written in the block. So I learned the block. Then I got halfway through and I was like, I should really know the script. So then I had to go and learn the script. So I personally, because I've been there, what you were saying, I said the same thing. I would do both.
Okay, thanks.
Right, I know. When I was teaching you individually, you wanted to do both. Again, that's fine. If you have any questions about that, or it should be in the book, you can do both if you find that helpful. I mean, just given the amount of time we have in the class and how much I'd like to go through, I'd like to emphasize the script. But I understand by all means if that's useful to you, they will have both of them here, and so just follow. The example of the block printing, but please also do the script as well.
I
Uh,
did the
that's
block
important.
on my own time. I did it on my own time, learning both. Like I stayed with Ron, but then afterwards, I practiced both.
Right, and I think that's been useful for you. Uh, let's go back for a minute. At the top of page 7. Oh, Jesse, you were going to do the script Lamed. What you do is you sort. Actually, it's good if you have 2 lines to do it in between. Near the bottom, you go down and make like a half circle, and then go up, and near the top, and then curve to the right. Okay, so that would be the block. Jesse did the block printing for the Lamed. And you want to do the script also, Jesse?
Sure, sorry, bear with me. So it starts on the lower like this?
Yes, just like it is in the book. Exactly. Okay, and so here's an example of the one that I did. Can you see this? So we have to switch. Yeah, that's exactly. Here we go. That's my script Lamed, like that. Okay.
Can you do it the other way? Can you start there and go like that? Can you start at the top? I'm sure you can, right?
Yes, you can. There's nothing holy about the way they tell you to do it. I would say most of the time, the way they have it here is what I learned years ago. But a certain percentage of the time, I don't know, 15, 20%, they do it, they start in a different place. So yes, whatever works well for you. I mean, particularly, again, one of you is left-handed, it may be easier to start in a different place. You can start at the top and do that, or you could start, I always learn to start in the middle and go up, but by all means, you can start in the top. So that's the way to do it. The mem, the next one, looks like the letter N in English, and so you normally start at the top. Jesse, you want to do the block printing also, since some people want to do that. This is very cute. The Rabbi Rapport told me about this today. It's an interesting that you could actually do this on the computer. There you go. And the script is the one that looks like they start at the upper right and go down, and then up, and then down. Okay, and that's the script mem, regular mem. Now, the mem sofit, Jesse, why don't you do that as well? Oh, this is on page 17, Antonio. Good. Now, I want to point out, look at the upper left. That has to go over. It's almost like a little box, but there has to be a tail over there on that going over. Okay? If you're going to do the block printing, do that. Okay? And now the mem sofit looks just like a lowercase a, except the
I'm having a hard
line
time.
is on the wrong side. Okay, so they suggest doing the vertical line first, and then going back and doing the circle. And again, you do whatever that, just like that, and then doing the circle. There we go. Okay. So that's the mem sofit, and that's only when it's at the end of the word, of course. They have a place to do this. You could, I would say, do a couple of things on each line. You have lines 1 through 4, and then for homework, go ahead and fill out the whole line. There's like 10 or 12 letters on each. Okay. Jesse, let's do the last thing. Again, we haven't learned the vav yet, but as a vowel, as a cholam, you can do that also in block printing. Right. There you go.
There's
Very important to have the dot on top. There it is. And the script is just a straight vertical line with the dot on top. And remember, like I said, this is not a dagesh. The dagesh is only in the middle. This is a cholam. Okay? And the cholam chaser, Jesse, just do any letter and then do the cholam chaser afterwards. Remember that the dot is at the upper left of the letter. Just choose any letter we've learned so far. Of course, the mem sofit wouldn't actually have a cholam chaser, but because it's a final letter. Try a regular mem. There you go. That's it. Okay, and do that in script also, so you can see what that looks like. Excellent. Thank you. Okay, Jesse, let's return to the regular thing. I have written my things down here just so I'll see in my handwriting. There we go. So I have lamed, mem sofit, and cholam. Everybody see that? And that should look pretty much the same as what Jesse did there. Hopefully all of your letters look the same.
I'm having a really hard time with the mem sofit script for some.
So you would start at the top, Bonnie. Start at the top, and then you're going to make. Wait, how do they? Okay. It's not clear what they said. The way I do it, I start at the top and make a circle, and then I do the vertical line to the left down afterwards.
Yeah, mine end up looking like these.
Yeah, Jesse is doing that for you. There you go, and then the vertical down afterwards.
Oh, that maybe that.
Yes, because here it's not clear. In some books, when they show you about the script, they actually put a number 1 for the first line and then number 2 for the second. This is good. That's so that'll show you. I bet that helps.
That helps.
Good. Feel free to ask questions. That's what we're here for. There's time for everything. Makes me feel good that you asked that and you learned. Anybody else have a question or a problem with learning the letters? Okay, we're doing well then. All right. So for homework, let me just ask a couple of you. Sarah, just if you did 1 or 2 examples of any of those letters in the book, let's see how you did them. Just a couple of examples. I just picked you random.
You mean tonight's class?
Right. Okay.
I like the idea of the circle.
And closer.
Okay. The circle with a line is much easier for me.
Much easier.
Okay.
Can you see?
Yeah, that looks good. Excellent. Okay, let me try one other person, Antonio. Let's see yours. Just to make sure that I communicated what to do. Good. That's a lamed. Excellent. And did you do a mem? Or a mem sofit? Yes. Okay, fine. That's a mem Sophie. Good. I didn't want to spend a lot of time, but just do the whole set of those lines, and that'll be good. Excellent. Okay, so now we're going to go back to where we left off. We finished page 13. We're going to do page 14 now. Okay. And I'm going to have you read these various vowel combinations. Page 14. Okay. So this is reading practice. We'll do just like we were doing before. I'll call on people. Barbara, Batya, why don't you read, let's see, we'll divide half a line. The first 5, that's line A on page 14.
Bow, bow, mo, toe.
Exactly. And the rest of the line, Merrill.
Toe, low, low, show.
Good. Okay. Michelle, the first, how many of the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Do first 5 on the next line.
Okie dokie. Ho, show, low,
Mhm.
bow, mo.
Good. Sarah, finish up.
I forgot, I think I lost my place. Okay. Toe, low, bow, mo, show, low.
Good. Okay. Amy, the first 5. First 4.
Boom, shom, tome, shom,
Good.
mo.
Oh,
Sorry.
Antonio, the next 4. Yeah, these are longer, so there are only 8 on a line.
I just have a question on the line B, the next to last to the left.
Line 3, line C.
It has 2 dots.
Line C, 5th word.
No, I'm asking a question first.
Oh, yes.
Okay, line B, the next to last one, it looks like right, exactly, a shin. It looks to me like it has 2 dots on it.
It does.
Okay,
The first shin, the first dot is part of the shin. The
okay,
shin always has a dot on the upper right.
right. So it's a shin, and it's just okay. So it always has a dot. Okay, and the other one is a diacritical mark for the O pronunciation. Is that correct?
The other dot is a cholon chaser.
Okay.
That's an O. That's at the upper left.
Different.
That can get tricky later on. Much later in the class, something about that's going to be unusual. But now, yeah. So now that's going to be show.
Okay.
Show.
Okay. So I'm doing line C, the first one, or no? Where am I?
See the 5th one, 5th to the end.
1, 2, 3, 4.
There we go. Jesse pointed to it.
Okay. So that's going to be lom.
Yes.
Tom.
Say it
Tom.
again.
Tom.
Yes.
Okay. Bomb.
Yes.
And that's just as okay. So I don't know. Lemon.
Yes. The mem Sophie doesn't have a vowel. Loam. That's correct.
Okay.
Okay, Laurie, why don't you read 4 of them? First half of line D.
Okay. Mole, shoal, bowl, toll.
Good. And Bonnie?
Mole, moat, oat, shoat.
Good. Very good. Just a couple here to tell you. Before we go ahead, on line A, the second word, that one. Bo means in it or with it. In it or with it. It could also mean in him or with him. A lot of these things are in context, depending on how it is in a sentence. But you should put that down. That's a, these are words that you will see. In it, with it, in him, with him. And I'm looking to see if there's anything else. Yeah, that's the only one there that's worth mentioning. Okay.
Question? Sorry. Ron, can you hear me?
Antonio.
The one you just did over there, the second one in on A, can you just pronounce how you did it?
I'm sorry, I missed, what was it again?
Yes, that one. Just pronounce that for me.
Bo.
It is bol. Okay. Oh, no, why is it not bolol?
Why isn't it what?
So I'm just confused why where does the O sound come? Does it come after or before?
The O sounds afterwards. So
Okay.
normally the vowel is underneath the letter. It's after the consonant. In this particular vowel is to the left of the letter instead of underneath, but also it's afterwards. Almost always afterwards. There are a couple of exceptions you'll learn way down the line.
Okay.
But yeah, what's afterwards, below or to the left, is that's the order you say. So it would be Bo. Okay.
Okay.
Let's see. So I'll read this. Underneath those is when the vowel cholam chaser is followed by the letter shin. Now listen carefully. Only one dot is used for both the letter and the vowel. Okay, so you have to remember this. That the dot in the shin can also serve as the vowel for the previous letter. When the vowel cholam is followed by the letter shin, each has its own dot. Okay, so if it's if the letter before has a cholam chaser, it's going to be right inside that dot. It's going to look like the previous letter doesn't have a vowel, but it does. It's just hidden. If it's a full cholam, then it'll be more obvious. Okay, and so let's go to Batya. Why don't you read the first three? So these are the tricky ones.
So that would be Mosh
That's correct.
and Mosh again,
Yes.
Bosh.
Both. Okay. And Meryl, why don't you do the next four? Well, do the next two.
Bosch,
Yes.
Bosch.
Right. And Michelle, the final two. Don't forget to unmute, Michelle.
I thought I did. Sorry. Now I get a second chance. Tosh, Losh.
Right. Say the first one again.
Tosh, I said.
Okay, I
Tosh.
think that was my ear. Again, I don't know if you pick it up the first time. Don't assume that it's wrong if I ask you again. It's probably because I didn't quite hear you.
So
No.
Ron, if there's a shin after another consonant, is
Yeah.
it always a chalom chaser?
No. I mean, that's, somewhat unusual that it is. Just once in a while. Mostly it's going to be another vowel. But if it looks like the previous letter doesn't have a vowel on it, and then it's a shin, then that tells you automatically that it's that the shin also acts as a cholam chaser.
Now, if in E, under the mem, there was a patach,
Yes.
then it wouldn't be masho, it would be mash.
Exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. The only time that's going to happen is if it looks like the letter, like it is in the third word in that line, the bet doesn't look like it has a vowel there. And then you're going to know it's Bosch. But if it has any other vowel on it, it's going to be that vowel, and the shin is just a shin. The only one that you don't see a vowel on that letter.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, you've now learned the letters and vowels that spell another basic Jewish vocabulary word. Okay, so Sarah is the next on my list. This is a four-letter word, and it is what, Sarah?
Shalom.
Shalom. Good. Okay. Uh, Now, most people, when I ask what it means, they'll start with hello and goodbye, but it's used that way. However, shalom means peace. Doesn't mean hello or goodbye. It's used that way, but shalom is peace. And so, why don't you read that that paragraph?
Okay.
This is
This is the Hebrew word shalom for peace. It is also used as a greeting, equivalent to the English words hello and goodbye. It can be combined with the word Shabbat, the vocabulary word you learned in the last chapter, to produce the phrase Shabbat Shalom.
good. Okay, and Amy, continue.
This is the traditional Shabbat greeting, expressing the hope that all may enjoy a Sabbath of peace, a peaceful Shabbat.
Good. And they wanted to, they have a key quote over here. They throw these in a lot to give you additional information besides your basic Hebrew, things that relate to prayer and whatnot. So read the English piece of it.
Do you want me to continue?
Right.
Okay. The Hebrew word for peace often appears in the Bible and in our prayer book. See if you can find the word for peace in this verse from the biblical book of Psalms. And so you'll find it in the second to last word.
That's correct.
And I'll read it in English. Turn from evil and do good and seek peace and pursue it.
Right, and that's from the Psalms. There's actually is also some, and I'll sing it, you know. You don't know most of the letters, but so I'll give you an example of what it sounds like. Su mera vaseto bakei shalom shalom v'rotehu. That's a musical song version of that.
Very nice.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, good. Let's see. I think we can do one more page here. Okay. Antonio, why don't you start reading this informational thing about roots? Read the first paragraph. And when it's the first time when it has the three letters, say the three letters, and then I'll tell you what to do afterwards. Go ahead, top of the page.
The word shalom, peace, comes from the three-letter word, regular letters, shin, lamed, men sofit.
Good.
This word has a basic meaning completion or wholeness. The word shalom therefore means more than just an absence of warfare and violence. It implies a wholeness, a lack of fragmentation, a spiritual completeness.
Good. Okay. Lori, why don't you continue? That's actually a new paragraph there.
Okay. There are many expressions in Jewish life that utilize the word shalom or the root shin lamed mem sofit. In addition to the Sabbath greeting, Shabbat Shalom, there is the expression refuah shlemai. Uh-oh.
You can't read the Hebrew yet. Refuah shlema.
Refuah shlema. Oh boy. Okay. A complete healing, which one wishes to those who are ill. This book has not yet introduced all the letters and vowels in these words, but you can recognize the root letters mem, sofit, lamed, shin. When suffixes are attached and the root letter mem, sofit is no longer the last letter of the word, mem appears in its regular form.
Right. If it's not, if the M doesn't end the word, it's no longer a mem sofit, it's a regular mem. Now also look at the shin lamed mem. So I'm going to, the first time I usually like, in a paragraph when they say something like that, I like to read out Shin Lamed Mem. After that, once we're introduced to it, what's normally done, this is a root, a shoresh. You normally pronounce it like with a patach under the shin and a patach under the lamed, under the first two roots of the word, shal or kames, like shalom. So instead of, if you do it once, instead of reading out the three letters, I'll have to tell you this again probably, but when you see this, you can just do and then the final letter, shalom. Get an idea what I'm saying? Sort of.
I'm not sure. Can you say that again?
Reading that, when you're reading a root, like Shin Lamed Mem, the first time you can say Shin Lamed Mem, but then when you're referring to the root afterwards, you can simplify it by using, what it is the past tense third person singular, and use an R under the first two letters. So you could just read it as shalom, shalom. Okay? And that's how you can refer to that. Okay, Bonnie, why don't you read the next paragraph?
The following, that paragraph, the following are other examples of Hebrew words formed from the root shalom.
Good.
This book has not yet introduced all the letters and the vowels that appear in these words. However, you can see that they all contain the root letters shalom with various vowels, prefixes, and suffixes, and that they all have related meanings.
Good. And so just finishing up, I'll actually read the Hebrew. Let's see. Batya, why don't you read the first three in English? I'll read the Hebrew afterwards.
Complete, whole, perfect.
Shalem. Continue in English.
To be completed, finished.
Lishlom. One more.
To pay, recompense, to complete, to discharge a commitment.
Lishalem. Okay, Meryl, you want to do the next two? In English.
To pay, no, I did that.
To make peace.
To make peace, reconcile, to complete, accomplish.
Lehashlim.
Fulfilled, perfect.
Mushlam. Oh, and Michelle, the last two.
A completeness, wholeness, perfection.
Shalemut.
And Solomon or Shlomo.
And that would be Shalomo. Good. So we actually got up to, let's see, up to page 16. I mean, if you want to take an extra couple of minutes, I could go through this page, so we'll actually be up to the writing. You want to go another 5 minutes?
Just have a question.
Okay, let's go through this one. So this is an exercise. Let's see. Sarah, why don't you read the top paragraph on page 16?
The following are prayer book excerpts containing the word shalom. You may already be familiar with the words or melodies of these prayers, though this book has not yet introduced most of the Hebrew letters and vowels appearing in them. Perhaps your teacher or friend can sing these prayer book excerpts to you.
Maybe we'll do that the next time. And Amy, read the next paragraph.
Try to find the word shalom in each excerpt. The number of occurrences in each excerpt is indicated in parentheses. In some cases, prefixes made up of other Hebrew letters are attached. And in some cases, suffixes are added, and the final letter, mem sofit, is no longer the last letter of the word. When this occurs, the final letter mem suffix becomes a regular mem.
Good. So there are 3 examples of this. Okay, so Antonio, there were 2 occurrences in this piece, Oseh Shalom. What I want you to do is tell me what the first one is. Look at this and see if you can find the correct word and tell me where it is.
Okay, I see it on the first line, second one over.
That's correct. Okay, and then Lori, where's the other one?
Sure, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th from the right.
The same line, yes, there we go. And both of those are shalom, what we learned. Okay, Bonnie, there are 7 occurrences in Shalom Aleichem. Why don't you tell me where the first is?
First word.
That's correct. Batya, what's the next one?
I think I might have missed one, but the third line, second word.
That's correct. There's a prefix there. And we will learn that later on. Okay, Meryl, what's the next one?
Third line, fourth word. Fourth word.
That's correct. Michelle, where's the next one? Have you muted, Michelle?
I don't see her.
We may have lost her.
Oh, maybe she had to leave. Sarah, why don't you tell us where the next one is?
Okay, fourth line, second word.
That's correct. Amy?
Mute, forgot to unmute, sorry. Fourth line, last word.
That's right. Fourth line, last word. Okay. Fourth line. Okay, and then Antonio, where's the next one?
The next one would be on the 5th line, and it would be Shalom the second.
Yes, it is. And there's one more. Lori?
On the last line, the last word.
That's correct. Good. That's pretty good. One more exercise, 4 occurrences in Shalom Rav. That's in the Amidah. Bonnie, why don't you take the first one?
First word again.
There we go. That's right. Batya, where's the next one?
Second line, fourth word.
That's right. Meryl?
Third line, 6th word, shalom.
That's right. So that's a complicated that's Bishlo Mecha, and that has prefixes and suffixes. Very good, Meryl. And finishing up, Sarah?
Last line, last word.
That's right. Oh, you actually got through. So, do the script on the next page, 17, and you can follow on your own. On the top of page 18, there are a couple of individual exercises, 1 and 2. Go ahead and do those also, and then we'll go over them in class the next time. So finish 17 and page 17 and page 18. And for reading, I would say go ahead also on page 18. Read 3 lines of line 3. Any 3 that you like. Just read them out loud and then give you practice for next week. Everybody have that? Not next week. this Thursday. Any questions before we go?
Can you just repeat the assignment? I'm sorry.
What was that?
Can you just repeat the assignment at 17 and 18? I'm sorry. The homework assignment.
Yes, hold on a second. One second. My book is falling slowly. Yes, on page 17, I just finished the scripts letters, the block and script letters. So these are things we learned today. And on page 18, the exercises 1 and 2 you can do on your own. And number 3, just choose 3 lines to read out loud to practice with somebody who knows Hebrew or by yourself if there isn't someone. I'll just give you a chance to do that. Okay?
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ron.
Thursday.
Good night, everyone.
Everyone, or Thursday rather.
Good night.
For being here. Have you enjoyed the class? And this was very nice. I think we got a lot done tonight, and you're all doing really well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thursday. Bye-bye. Hi, Jesse. No glitches tonight. That worked really well with the letters.